So, for me, the daily confrontation with fear has become a real practice for me since about three years ago. I went skydiving in Dubai, right? And skydiving is a really interesting confront with fear, right? So I gotta stand up. I'm sorry, I gotta stand up. All right. So all your friends, what happens? You go out. I dropped my thing. So what happens is you go out the night before and you take a drink with your friends, and somebody says, "Yeah, we should go skydiving tomorrow." And you go, "Yeah, we'll go skydiving tomorrow." "Yeah, yeah." And you go, "Yeah." And everybody goes, "Yeah." Right? And you go home and you by yourself, you're like, Right? You're like, well, yeah, I mean, they was drunk too. Right? So maybe they not, maybe, I mean, we don't have to go. We don't have to do it. So then that night you're laying in your bed and you just keep, and you're terrified. You keep imagining over and over again jumping out of an airplane, and you can't figure out why you would do that, right? And you're laying there and you have the worst night's sleep of your life, but you still have the hope that your friends were drunk, right? So you wake up the next day and you go, down and you say where you were going to meet, and everybody's there. You're like, oh, shit. All right, cool, right? So you get in the van and you don't know that your friends had the same night that you had because they're pretending like they didn't. They're like, "Yeah, man, my uncle's a Navy SEAL, and this is going to be great. I've been looking forward to this." And you're like, oh my God. And your stomach is terrible. You can't eat and everything, but you don't want to be the only punk who doesn't jump out of this airplane. So you get there, and then you have the safety brief. And you're standing there, and the guys will tell you, well, if the chute doesn't open, what's going to happen is you're doing, well, why the hell, what could happen? That the chute wouldn't open, right? So you do a thing, and what you do is your first jump, you're attached to a guy who is going, he's going to walk you out. So you go, and you get there, and there's an airplane, and nobody's stopping. Everybody's still going. So you get onto the airplane, and you're sitting there, and it's extra because you're sitting on some dude's lap, some stranger. You're sitting on his lap, and it's like, you're trying to make small talk. Yeah, man. So you be jumping with people all the time, huh? Right? So, and then you just want to make sure, you got kids, right? You got people you need to see, right? You just want to make sure he's serious, right? So you get in there. So everything's normal. So you fly and you go up to 14,000 feet, and you notice there's a light. It's red and it's yellow and green, right? So right now the light's red. So then you start thinking at some point the light's going to go green, but you don't know what's going to happen, right? And you wait, and it goes yellow, and the light goes green, and somebody opens the door, and in that moment you realize you've never been in a freaking airplane with the door open. Right? Terror. Oh, sorry, I'm spitting. Oh, sorry. No, terror, right? So you go, and then, if you were smart, you sat in the back so you don't go first, right? And then people start going out of the airplane. And you go, and the guy walks you up to the end of the thing, and you're standing, and your toes are on the edge, and you're looking out down to death. And they say, on 3. And they say, 1, 2, and he pushes you on 2 because people grab on 3, right? Right? And you go, and you fall out of the airplane, and in 1 second, you realize that it's the most blissful experience of your life. You're flying, right? It doesn't feel like falling, right? It's like you actually are kind of held a little bit by the wind, and then you start falling, and there's zero fear. You realize that the point of maximum danger is the point of minimum fear. It's bliss. It's bliss. And you're flying. Right? And you're doing that. And then 20 seconds, 25 seconds, 40 seconds. And you have enough time to just kind of be like, oh, shit, that's that building. I saw like that one. Oh, you can see the ocean. right? You start doing all of that. And the lesson for me was, why were you scared in your bed the night before? What do you need that fear for? Just don't go. Why are you scared in your bed 16 hours before you jump? Why are you scared in the car? Why could you not enjoy breakfast? What did you need that? The fear is fear of what? You're nowhere even near the airplane. Everything up to the stepping out, there's actually no reason to be scared. It only just ruins your day. You don't have to jump. And then in that moment, all of a sudden, where you should be terrified is the most blissful experience of your life. And God placed the best things in life on the other side of terror. On the other side of your maximum fear are all of the best things in life. You know? Mm-hmm. So that was sorry. So that was,
no, it's good.
That was my experience with skydiving and fear.
All right.
80% of success is psychology. It's your mindset, it's your emotion, it's your capacity to overcome your fears and your limitations and just push yourself anyway. 20% of success in life is knowing what to do, having the skills or the strategies or the tools. Now that might sound weird to you because most of you know I'm a strategist. Like I know the right strategy in anything can save you 5, 10, 15, 20 years. You could be working for a decade doing something that's not working, and all of a sudden you get the right offer, the right approach, the right insight, the right way of communicating, and the whole game changes. So strategies can turn decades into days, can compress decades into days. It can accelerate your success like nothing else. But strategies don't get implemented whenever we allow our mindset to get in the way. And the natural mindset of all human beings, it's set in our brains. It's, we have a 2 million year old brain. That's how old it's been around. And if you let the survival mindset, which is the part that we go to under stress and fear, most of us, if you let it take you over, it's always looking for what's wrong. It's always looking to find what's wrong, what could hurt me, what could get in trouble, and let me either avoid it, let me freeze, or let me fight, or let me hide, right? People are either running from it, or they're freezing, or they're fighting with what they're afraid of. And so what I want to talk to you about is that 4-letter word, that 4-letter F word that'll mess you up. And it's not the word most people think of, it's the word fear, right? We call it false evidence appearing real, F-E-A-R. But I tell people, for most people, it's more like F everything and run. That's what it really feels like when fear takes over. So if you're going to transform your life and you're going to get in your own business, and by the way, how much fear is there in the world right now with this coronavirus? I mean, it's crazy. I've been talking to doctors all over the world, and you see all this hype in the media, and certainly it's a real issue. But 600,000 people die every day or every year of the flu in the world, 80,000 people last year in the United States. In the last 2 months, we've had 26,000 people die of the normal flu, and we've had, 11 people, I believe, here now in the United States. So yes, it's something you have to deal with, but you have to use your mind and let the fear overcome you, and life feel like it's upside down. Because in reality, there are people dying. It's horrible. Any human dying is horrible. But the truth of the matter is more people dying of influenza A and B. There was an article in U.S. News & World Report. The title was "Virus You Should Be Afraid of." It's a whole different component. So, and that's what's really happening right now. People are overreacting. And so if somebody's elderly, if somebody has pre-existing, respiratory conditions, something to be concerned about, you notice that the whole world is freaking out. We have an event we were doing in San Jose, California. One person passed away, was 60 years old, has no connection to China by the description of CDC or NIH, has no connection to anybody that they know of that's had the virus in any way, but she has the virus. Well, you have tuberculosis in your body, you have strep in your body, you have all kinds in your bodies, but it's not manifested. So the point is, you don't need to overreact. Yes, you need to be intelligent, not overreact. And when it comes to a business, what crushes you, what keeps you from having what you really deserve is this capacity to understand the truth. The truth is, when you're doing something new, it's not going to be perfect. And if you're trying to be perfect, if you're putting pressure on yourself that you have to get through everything in a short order and be the master of the universe, you're not going to probably take much steps. You're going to take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, or you're not going to take any steps at all. So I think it's really important to understand that Dean started out with nothing. I mean, Dean's done over $1 billion in business now, and the businesses I'm doing over 6 billion a year businesses. It's a combination of all my companies together. But that grew from literally nothing. It grew from the exact process that you're about to begin, self-education. It is an incredible power, my friends. But if you're judging yourself constantly about how well I'm going to do, you're never going to get started. So